What's up, guys? We are back. The entire YouTube account suspended last week, but don't worry, you didn't miss anything. Did not have a good week. Week before that, went 3-2. Just to recap that, and last week we had 1 win, 3 losses, and a tie. So overall, 25 wins, 23 losses, and 2 ties. No real advantage has come. There's been some stuff's been working, some stuff's been kind of in a weird groove right now. I'm gonna give my picks this week. Are they the greatest picks in the world? Should you be following them? I'm 25-20. I said at the beginning of the season I'm going the whole year. We're still sitting in the mid-30s. I think a chance of me cashing in this pool is still possible. It's getting tighter as the weeks go on. There's only 17 weeks. This is week 11. But 1 4 or 5 win week could really jump me. I'm still sitting right there, 38th out of 104. Top 10 get paid. Okay, is what it is. So starting off with how unlucky I've been. Might as well start off with the random number generator. Now, the random number generator in 10 weeks was 1 was the random number generator. So doing pretty good. And of course, it came last night with the Arizona Cardinals +3. Frustrating game overall. It seemed like the Cardinals easily could have covered, but they did not. So I'm starting the week off 0-1. So you can actually make me 25-24-1 on the year. Stinks. It is what it is. Next pick, as we know, we pick against the Jets every single week on this show. The Jets have only come through and actually killed us twice for that. And until they do it 2 times in a row, I'm going to continuously do it. It's a strategy that somehow works in these 5 picks. So this week they're playing the Chargers. Do I trust the Chargers? No. They're laying 8.5. Do I want to lay more than a touchdown with the Chargers? Absolutely not. But do I have to? I have to follow what I've been doing. I haven't liked taking teams against the Jets, but anything's possible. Chargers do get big leads. They have the ability to really run it up. The problem is that their defense always lets the other team back in, but the Jets are bad enough to not come back in. Interesting to come off a bye week, see what happens, but Chargers -8.5. So now for the 3 picks that I made, I actually really liked the board this week. There was games that it was one of those weeks where there's a lot of things I like, and I can only pick 3. Some other weeks it's like only like 1 or 2, and it's like hard to even get to 3. So the first pick, Patriots, -1.5. I was shocked when I saw the spread coming into the week as pick'em against the Houston Texans. Houston's not been playing well. Granted, last week they were playing in the rain. It's a tough, environment to be playing in. But do you really think Bill Belichick's gonna let Romeo Crennel come in and beat him? No, this isn't gonna happen. But the Patriots do have the ability. We saw it with the Broncos game. They just fucking blow it and just suck, which is why the spread is 1.5. If it's 3, everyone's taking Houston +3. The line's kind of moved to 2.5. I actually don't know what it is right now. I think it actually might be 2 or 2.5. It's been climbing. Now remember, it opened at pick'em. There's been a lot of Patriots betting, but I don't care. I don't care if you're rolling with the public here. Patriots -1.5. I'm not a Patriots fan. I love the play. That's the first pick. Second pick, a team I've loved a lot, picked a lot during the year, is the Green Bay Packers. They are playing the Colts. The Colts actually aren't that good. It might seem like they're good, or maybe you think they're good, but they really don't have a true identity in the passing game. It's a lot of short passes, nothing really long or anything. Michael Pittman plays, then he gets hurt, and then he looks okay. T.Y. Hilton in the last 2 years hasn't had a game over 70 yards receiving. And coming into the year, the Colts actually ranked with the easiest schedule of anybody in the league. So for them to be where they are at this point of the year, it is not surprising to anybody at all. But they're only laying 1.5, and the Packers are getting points here. I mean, I think there's a big debate now, and a lot of people are wondering, does it really matter if you have home field advantage? Is that a real thing, yes or no? And it's been going back and forth. A lot of the statistics and the data just supports that the home field advantage really isn't a thing this year. There hasn't really been a change. If it is, it's like a point, like 1.2, 1.3. It is really not that high. So it's basically like a neutral field. Especially playing in an open dome in Indianapolis there. I mean, the Packers, I love it. I love the play here. I love the Packers in the spot, especially after they played kind of shitty against Jacksonville. I think this is last week. I think this is awesome spot for them. Absolutely love the play. Last pick. Last pick, I had actually looked down. I forgot. I was thinking about the last pick taking the Dolphins. Really like them against the Broncos. I've been betting against the Broncos a lot, especially in the last couple of weeks, and I've been winning doing that. This is I'm going to take a pause here. Tua going on the road. The Broncos are just the weird showing up at weird times, and it's 3.5. If it was 3, I probably would have taken the Dolphins here. Not sure what the spread is now. I highly doubt it's come down to 3. But at 3.5, I was just staying away, even though I do like fading the Broncos like I have been. I really like the Dolphins, who have also been taking a lot lately. But it's actually the Chiefs. The Chiefs are laying 7.5. You don't really want to be laying more than touchdown. I believe it's the Sunday night game, but I'm pretty sure it is a Sunday night game. The Chiefs coming off a bye. Andy Reid off a bye. The stats are unbelievable with how good he is, but that's only straight up. That's not against the spread. You have to remember the Chiefs' only loss of the year is against the Raiders this year. So you know that they obviously want to come for revenge. And not to mention that John Gruden was just circling Arrowhead Stadium after they won, just celebrating. The buses just kept driving in circles around, just rubbing it into their face. You don't have to be extra motivated, but in motivation, whatever, with professionals, but they were a few Raiders defenders actually caught COVID. So almost the entire defense, you'll see this if you look at injury reports and stuff, is on the COVID-19 list just because of close contact. Now it's expected that most of them, basically all of them, are going to pass, with a negative test and be able to play on Sunday. But one thing that they cannot do is practice at all this week. So now you have to play Mahomes, who's coming off of a bye, without any practice. I don't really know. I see this perfect spot. Chiefs winning by 10, 13 points. I'll lay the 7.5 comfortably there. So that's it for the picks this week. Start hard to start 0-1, but I'm really, really confident, especially with how many plays I really like this week with the 3 that I picked. And I do think the Jets really stink. So, yeah. All right. So, second half of the show, got some interesting questions that came through. I don't know how long it'll take me to explain it. So, first one was about drugs. People asking hey, how was drugs in there? How did it work? Pretty simple process. So people either bring them in. Usually, I knew when I was getting sentenced, hey, on this date you were coming in and you were being sentenced to this, and you're doing this and this and this. And then I said my lawyer, all right, cool. And it was a month and a half from that time. It was before I went in, right? So I basically knew the day that was coming. I knew what my sentence was going to be of 3.5 years and everything. So what a lot of people do, especially the ones that are in gangs or different kind of stuff, early on, or you have to commit to the game. But you basically have to take medical gloves, right? Because medical gloves is what they use in surgeries when you're cut open. Nothing's getting through this, right? So you double or triple glove up whatever kind of drug you want, heroin or crack cocaine or pills or whatever, right? So you basically put them in the bag 2 or 3 times, then insert them anally into your anus. And then when you get to the facility, you'll actually, have a bowel movement and it'll come out. You'll be able to fish out the gloves from the water. Now, whatever's inside won't even get wet because those gloves are double, triple, everything's wrapped up. And then in there, you can pass to some kind of worker or somebody who will then, because they're looking for this, especially in the units when you first come in. Usually there's, like I said, when I described when I first came in, that they put you in a unit to make sure that they don't put you with any rival gang members, people you have enemies with. So you always have that 10-day holding unit when you first come in. Obviously, you're going to pass, have a bowel movement once in those 10 days. You know what I mean? So, but from in there, it might seem hard to be moving stuff around, but people have medical appointments. They leave the unit. Other people from other units come in sometimes or for food. A lot of times every facility is different. Like I said, we did not have a cafeteria because of the fights that went on. So everything got brought to our units. Like I said, they would unlock the top. I think I explained this. They unlock the top tier. Everybody goes down, gets a tray, goes back to their room, locks in. Bottom tier gets their tray, back to the room, lock in. Wait 20, 25 minutes. Top tier, unlock. Everybody return the tray, lock in, right? So, and what you put them back in is this thing that you plug into the wall, basically, right? And all your trays are in there, like you were in grade school. You have your trays, and then there's just a cover. That way they can just stack, 100 meals or whatever in there. So when you're returning the tray, people tip off. You're tipping off the food worker to let him know there's something in this tray. And he'll put it like on the top of the rack or the other stuff. And then the dishwasher people, all these things come back from the units all at once. And the dishwasher people just get in, they're just running them in the kitchen. And they also know which one has something, and they take it out. And then boom, there's drugs. Boom, there's drugs in the facility. Simple way to do it. That's also how tattoo guns really move through the units, because there's only usually so many guns or other stuff, or some people try to buy them. But if somebody's in like a different unit that's like 2 buildings over, like there's literally, these buildings aren't even connected. The only way that everything's connected is through the kitchen, so tattoo gun will travel. People could request it out. You also, in the visit room, you see other people from other units. So, you could pass a note in a visit unit they'll tell somebody in a different, like, yo, give this to my boy B, he's in room 12, go room 12. So then you go over to cell 12. Like, if you had gotten a note, no one's giving me a fucking note. Trust me. It's like people that know each other from the streets and stuff, that people that they can trust to pass a message. It's actually called a kite. They called it a kite. So if you send a kite, that's what that is. And then, people might know. It's very interesting. But then the unit thing will come to our unit for whatever, a couple days. And then especially if the guards get a hold of something, then they'll ship it the fuck out of there. A different way to get drugs in there. Simple. A guard brings it in. Just a guard brings it in. I remember I was there maybe like 4 or 5 months, right? And then a guard brought in, and I thought it was a lie at first. I thought it was like everybody exaggerating, because, people do that all the time. A guard brought in a 1/4 pound of weed, and it was in the kitchen. It was somehow stored in the kitchen. But then literally every unit was smelling like weed. The whole, like, literally everything smelled like weed at all times. Now they would randomly drug test you and drug test people, but it gets to the point where maybe it was like 3 or 4 months where just randomly you get huge whiffs of weed, and you'd be like, oh yeah, that unit over there, yeah, that's weed unit, or like, you know what I mean? It was, I wish I knew the numbers, what people paid, what it sold for. I was never interested. Not something I ever wanted to do, but it was really interesting to see it move in there, or even being like, why does everything smell like weed? It's like, oh yeah, some dudes in the kitchen have it now, and it's like, wait, what? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, why, you want some? It's like, no. It's like, that is insane though. That's very insane. Especially, whatever. So a lot of things that you might see is a lot of people have electrical unit outlets, yeah, in their rooms or in the cells, right? Ours were shut off because a lot of people would use that. You take toilet paper, or like not actual toilet paper, but like that wrap that's outside of it, and you can like put it into the outlet, and it could catch fire to light the marijuana to consume it. It's not that easy. Smoking lighters and matches aren't like common. Just because you have marijuana doesn't really mean it's that easy to actually light. You know what I mean? And some people, like, they a lot of cells don't have those things on. Sometimes they do have it on. Maybe someone wanted to use the clippers to cut your hair, in their room for some reason. I don't know. Sometimes there's some units will be on. I unfortunately lived in a cell alone that had it turned on, and I was at work one day. This was on medium security, and a new person moved in. And literally within 20, 30 minutes of them living there, they started smoking weed. I was like, what? So I'm at work, and then randomly, like, 4 guards, like, come on me. They strip search me, like, on the spot. Then they're acting wild and this and that. And I'm like, basically, then I found out what happened. Go back to, like, my cell, and my things, like, ripped up in like, pieces. And this kid's like, oh, sorry, or like something like that. Or he had a ton of friends in the unit too, which kind of stunk, because I couldn't just like be so mad at him. But I'm not gonna start a fight over something like that. That is stupid. That's a stupid reason. Person's just an idiot. Like, right away, we didn't live together, but it was just like mutual understanding that you're a moron. Another way people would get drugs, so you would have the medication cart. I think I've mentioned this before. So the medication cart would come around, and some people have some like really powerful drugs. I don't really know all the names and what they do, but like some people love the sleeping meds or not. I don't know. Pain. I don't know what the fuck stuff they had or why people liked it. But anyway, so whenever you had to take medicine, right? So the person will take out your medication and give it to you in a plastic cup. You take the cup and just put it in your mouth. Then there's another cup. You grab the second cup. That is water. You pour the water. Then you open your mouth wide, stick your tongue out, and then show them there's nothing in your mouth, right? So some people, obviously people that have done a ton of time, are good enough to throw the pills in, drink the water, show the tongue. Actually, sometimes you lift the tongue too. But in reality, they didn't swallow some of the pills. And then people get the pills out, then you let it dry a little bit, and you can like crush it up and snort them, or you can just actually take them. But like obviously there's like a little bit, like the pills, some of it's been dissolved from being the saliva in the mouth or the water. But you know, people are always trading those for a couple dollars, you know, especially people that have nothing. But then the facility said that you need to have this medication every single week. So that was like a thing that a lot of people actually did to hustle, and I don't know why people bought them. We did took enough drug tests, and you know, people were always, I don't want to say always after me, but for some reason people picked on me in a way where, I don't want to say picked on me, they were suspicious of me, where I would consistently get drug tested like a ton when I was in there, just because the way that I talked and acted. I don't know why. It was kind of weird. I get drug tested so much though that I was like, any time I even thought about risking it, wasn't worth it. Another thing's Moonshine. Why did I talk about Moonshine? So Moonshine, man, I wish I remember exactly how they did it. It's something to do with fruit. So we get a ton of fruit. You know, there's no fruits and there's barely ever fruits and vegetables, but there's always like apples around, or oranges. No, I want to say oranges. Probably like apples are around. And oranges, yeah, actually. So apples and oranges are mainly around, but I think they use old apples, and you know, it basically, you can look it up online, like how to like make homemade wine with just apples at your house. You know, you let it ferment over time and this and that, but it's not that easy because it takes so much time. And the other thing is that we have so many room checks and room searches, and you know, every week you have like the corporals come around to every cell, and then they give you like a grade, a pass-fail grade on how clean your cell is, like overall. And also, it was mind-blowingly stupid and made me feel like a slave. But anyway, so obviously it's hard to be fermenting something over time, and if anybody got word of it, they would just search you. So the easiest place to do it is in plain sight, right? So in the unit, there's trash cans in our units, right? So the only people that ever change the trash cans are inmates. So no, in theory, no guard is ever actually touching the trash cans in there. So basically, you had your trash can with the trash bag on it, right? But underneath the trash bag is where the alcohol was being made in the unit. The whole time, it's just being cooking in there. And like I said, you have the unit workers, they're allowed to be up till 11:30 before the midnight shift change, while everybody else has to lock in at 10. So a lot of times they can even set it up at nighttime or other stuff, or even during I don't know how they ever like actually bring it to into the center of the entire thing. But you know, they're like sweeping up the floor before they wash it. So then maybe they drag the trash can over near where a cell door is, and then like throw it at the bottom, and then put the trash bag on top with everything on it. But then that's how I was in a unit once, and they let it cook for months, you know, and it actually came out with some really strong stuff. And then a bunch of people took it on New Year's Eve, and then they got in trouble for being intoxicated. Clearly they're intoxicated, and they lived in the top tier, so they have to walk up the stairs. Not a good idea to be drinking and walking up and down stairs when a guard can be staring at you. But yeah, I always thought that. I totally forgot about that. You know, it was interesting that they just made it in plain sight, and no guard caught on. Nobody knew after the fact. You know, that's when I found out. But then that's also when, you know, if other people snitched or whatever. Well, after it existed, they tried to reverse and figure out how it happened. But then the guards were then checking it by the time, you know, at first they never ever did that. Then they were like, would do their walk around and see all the cells, and then they'd be checking inside a trash can to see, you know, if anything's in there. But yeah, that's drugs. That's Moonshine. I think, yeah, that's all the stories I got about that. That's interesting stuff.